Hello. So we're going to talk about how to transfer your design to your block. So at this point in the project, if you're watching this video, you should have already done a couple of things. You should have sketched your design or made your design in Illustrator. So this is what my Illustrator design looks like after it's been printed out. You should have also done a practice print on a size about this big. So you can see that like my design for my logo has a lot of angles. There's not really a lot of curves or anything. So I wanted to practice doing angles on my practice print. So you can see I actually looked up like Celtic runes and I did a rune for courage. So that's what I've got going on here. But I picked it because it had a lot of angles on it. And then I practiced printing with it, which you should have already done at this point. So now that you've practiced stuff, the next thing we need to do is transfer our final design onto our final version of the print, right? So you can see this is our practice one and this is our final one. They're different sizes. This one was smaller so that we could just practice stuff, and this one's the actual size we're going to do. So this is what your print's going to look like when you print it out. What we don't want to do is transfer that design exactly the way that it is, because then it's going to print backwards. So if I transferred this design onto here with the C exactly the way that it looks, then when I go to print it, it's going to print the reverse of what I actually want. So instead of that, what I need to do is put this side face down and transfer it backwards, or a mirror image, so that way I get the reverse on the stamp that will then be the correct way when I print it. So in order to do that, what we're going to do, it's going to seem kind of weird to do this, but this is what we're going to do. We're going to take a pencil, and I need to sharpen mine because you can see I've kind of done it already. I'm going to shade in anywhere where I need to create a line. So I'm going to use this pencil to make like a poor man's version of carbon paper. This works the best with a regular pencil instead of a mechanical pencil. So I'm going to go ahead and shade in all of this area here. So anywhere where there's something that I need to trace. And I want to apply a lot of pressure when I do this because I want my pencil to leave behind a lot of lead. And the reason why I'm just kind of going all over the place is because I don't really need to be super precious with this side because I can see it from the back, right? So I'm going to be tracing on the back side. So that way I get a mirror image of what I've created here, so that my stamp, when I stamp with it, when I create the stamp, will be the correct way. So almost done here. Just gonna finish this up. Okay, so now that I have pencil along the back or along the front of wherever I need to trace, then I'm going to have my block and put my print down, face down, the side that I just scribbled on. I'm gonna put that side face down. What I should also do is give myself just a little piece of tape there, so that way it doesn't move while I'm trying to trace it. So I'm just going to go with a little piece of tape on either side. Put a little piece of tape here. And then make sure it's nice and smooth and put a little piece of tape here. Perfect. Okay, so now at this point, you could use a pen, so that way you can see exactly where you have done your tracing already. And so you can see, if I don't knock it over, whoops. You can see that it's easy to see through the paper because of how we made our design. Like, we made everything that we wanted to carve away black and everything that we wanted to keep white. So here's that white part and here's that black part. And I'm just going to go ahead and trace that design. And I know this is going to sound like I'm like a witch or something, but I promise you that the pencil that's on the other side is getting transferred. So have you ever been drawing or writing with a pencil and then you like get it smudged on your hand? Like those of you that are left-handed might have experienced this more than us people that are right-handed, where it smudges onto your hand. So what we're doing is using that ability of pencil to our advantage, and we're on purpose smudging with our pen from the other side where we want the lines to be. So I'm just going to kind of finish this side here, and then I'll lift it up and I'll show you what I mean. So I'm tracing everything that I can see through the paper. So I've got like a little bit there that I've traced. So if I lift up this corner, you're going to see that now that idea, that transfer, has gone through to the other side. So I would just continue to do that all the way around. So I would do that on this side. Doing my best to be as accurate as I can. And then if I mess up or if I need to fix anything, I can do that after I've traced it all. So now I can see I've got both sides. It's going pretty good. And I've got some lines that I want to do here. Those came out pretty good too. So it's a little bit like jagged, and that's okay, because I'm going to go through and carve it anyways, right? So if I zoom this back out, hopefully it won't fall over, and then I lift this up, I could probably even go with my pencil and clean, or with my pen and clean up some of those lines. I can make that line nice and straight. And I don't want to press down really hard when I'm doing this. I actually can go pretty light. So that way I know that I'm not making a dent in anything. If you make any big dents, then they're going to be seen when you make your print, right? So for example, over here, I need to clean this up. So anything that dents the surface of your print will not pick up ink when you roll ink onto it. So I'm trying to be really delicate right now and just kind of like re-outline it so that I can see exactly what I have going on. And then I would just continue to do that, right? So I can put this back down and continue to trace everything that I need to trace. And if it's hard to see, you could also take this design to the light table and trace it exactly on the back. So that way it's exactly the way that you need it to be. But if you've done your Illustrator image correctly, then you should be able to do exactly what I'm doing and just look through it because it's a pretty thin paper. It's going to take a little bit of time, but that's okay. And then once we have everything traced, then we can take this paper off for good, and then we can go through and carve everything. So I'm basically going to use this design that's printed as my guideline for what I need to cut out. So everywhere that's black is what I need to carve away. So according to this design, everything around the outside and all of my line work is what I need to carve away. And that's pretty much it. So you can see, because I shaded on the front of this guy and then traced it onto the back, that I've got a mirror image here. And that's exactly what I want, because remember, when we do a stamp, everything gets flipped, right? Like everything is the mirror image of whatever it is that you carved out. So I did this like this, so that way when it's time to carve it and do my print, I will have my C facing the correct direction. Cool. All right. Hopefully this was helpful. Good luck.